And we are live,
What's up? What's up?
live, live at the barbecue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another show. POD put out direct on this lovely evening, and we got a really good show today. Should be very interesting. But the first thing we're gonna run through some headlines, talk about some headlines, and get into our main topic. But we're going to talk. The main topic for today will be the deceptions on your labels. Are you able to read the labels? Do you understand the labels? And some of the things that are on your labels, are they detrimental to your health, or are they good for you? So that's something that we need to educate ourselves on, especially in our community, because we eat whatever, especially at the corner store. And we really have to learn how to read these labels. We really have to read these labels to try to figure out, what's the best option for us, because you do have options. And by default, we are subjected to a lot of things because we're just not educated on.
It's just a shame that you have to be educated to eat right. You know what I mean? You got to be educated in this world. It's legal to poison people. That's crazy.
Well, corporations are going to make money based on your ignorance, and they got this thing. Food is down to a science where they can actually create things that taste good, but may not even be real food. But yeah, we'll get into that later on in the show. Let's see, folks, come on up in here, check the chat out. But what's been up with you since the last show, Mister?
Since last show, man, chilling, man. It's the same old same. Just focused. That's all I'm doing. I'm just being focused, brainstorming the norm, trying to figure out what's ahead, and I'm just walking that path still with no destination. So
it's a weird time, but it's also an exciting time because we are witnessing, experiencing things that has not been experienced before. So we'll find the beauty in that, and we shall move forward. But go ahead.
But one thing for sure, this is at a high of thinking. Yeah, it's really putting the brain, on some real thought. You know what I mean? Like, especially those who use their brains. You know what I mean? So, it's heavy, real heavy.
Well, right now is the thinking time, because you're gonna have to critically think as well as feel your way through the maze that we're in right now. So a lot of the information that's going to be given to you to find your way out of the maze is going to be information to actually keep you in the maze. So you're going to have to think, critically think your way out, and you're going to have to feel your way out. And when I say feel, I'm talking about spiritual. You have to be connected to source and listen to that gut feeling and those little voices that say, hey, instead of going left, go right. Don't try to second guess it and try to rationalize it. Just submit and do it, and you'll see what happens.
Right.
But yeah, right. In the news, yesterday, Friday, New York City free lunch deadline expired. They were giving the city workers time to kind of figure out if they wanted to get down or lay down. And this is a rough estimate, but the article also mentioned that it was like roughly 26,000 workers did not comply with the free lunch, and those individuals will be sucked out of the system, and the ramifications will be forthcoming. I think whatever choice a person makes, that's their choice. I'm pro-choice, so I feel like a person definitely needs to be able to be in a position to choose. not be forced, but to choose whatever they're going to do. Let them do that. But it's interesting. We're going to have to watch to see how your system functions when you pull. Because I had one article stating it was 150,000 people pulled out of the system. This particular article said 26,000. So I think you had some people that might have complied at the last minute. I don't know, but it's still a massive amount of people to pull out your system. When we're talking about police officers, we're talking about firefighters, we're talking about healthcare workers, we're talking about people that you need in civil service to function. So you start pulling people out. And here's the thing that doesn't really add up too tough. You create a scenario where people are put in this position, and then if they don't comply, you pull them out of the system. Now your system is strained and it's not functioning properly. So you put your city at risk of all types of shit when you don't have people to cover what they need to cover when shit goes down. House catch on fire. You ain't got enough firemen to come put the shit out. Your shit gonna burn up. Or you might be trapped in the house and no one's gonna come because they don't have enough people to cover that. So it doesn't make logical sense to me to create a scenario. Now let's rewind. Let's go back to when we was at the height of CV-19. All of these people were heroes because they were on the front line. Now that we're at the juncture of free lunch, these people are labeled, they got all types of labels that they don't put on these people because they don't want to comply now. So if you let's look at it. On one hand, people are heroes because they're battling something in the midst of an unseen threat that potentially can get anybody. So these people are heroes to still go out and still do their job. But now forced in a situation where they want to take free lunch, they're labeled this, that, or the third, as well as sucked out of the system and, so forth and so on. So it just don't make sense to me. But my spider senses are telling me this. All of this is it's planned. So we'll see how this all turns out. Because I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
You gotta think about this. It don't make sense because we live in this world, right? We live under the rules and regulations and everything. The people who give the rules and regulations, they feed off our energy. They don't really care if our house is burned down or this happens, is that, all this stuff. They don't care about none of that stuff, man. That's not important to them. That's important amongst the people. That's not important to the people that run this shit. You know what I mean? They're not losing nothing, bro. They're not losing not a dime on this. Because they love their money. But at the same time, we love money more because it's like it's like food to us. And they feed us the money. So everything that we think that don't make sense makes a lot of sense to them. You know what I mean? So you gotta think about it. We are characters in a game, and they put the game together. So they don't care if this goes bad. They just delete that. They delete that. They put that back here. They put this. They just pressing buttons, bro. They're not affected by it. So they really don't care if people starve, die, whatever. They don't care about that. That's not important to them. All they care about is reestablishing and building what they want to build. That's all it is.
And that's one of the reasons why I said I'm watching how it plays out, because I think that there is a narrative being created here, and we're moving towards something that we'll ultimately see in the future. So that is that. Another headline that I came across. It said that, and keep in mind, this is a headline. This is not my view, but I do have an opinion about it. And the article basically said that people who eat meat have a lower level of depression and anxiety than vegans. And I thought that was interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I've been both, so I can disagree. You know what I mean? So I don't know where they're getting that information from. I guess they trying to again force people into eating stuff that they shouldn't be eating. But at the same time, when I was a vegan, the only thing that I lacked when I was a vegan was I wasn't that strong, but I felt good. You know what I mean? I felt healthy and all that, but I just wasn't strong. I didn't have a, it was a different type of energy when you're a vegan than when you're a meat eater. Well, when you know, when you eat all that other stuff, it's just a different type of energy. One weighs on you, one is like a quick burst of energy, and one is like more like a settled energy. Like being a
Yeah.
vegetarian is more like a settled energy. It's more, you know, it's more like a it's not too much and too, you know what I mean? It just keeps you on more of a balanced energy. It doesn't rise to the top and drop hard. You know what I mean? So when you stuffing yourself with, you know, all this food, to me, food is all energy, you know, at the same time. But when you stuffing yourself with mad food like that, it causes a lot of problems, you know what I mean, to your body and everything. It wears you down, even though you feel stronger and you feel more alive. But it's a small window when you feel like that when you eat meat. When you're vegetarian, you maintain this balance. You know what I mean? Like you're not over strong and you're not too weak. You just right in between, but you feel healthy. You know what I mean? You just feel good. You know, it's just a balance. And there's a balance in between them, and eating meat will kind of, it off balances everything. It might make you feel stronger and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
the long term effects is different.
My I guess my take on the article, saying, meat eaters had a lower level of anxiety and depression. Um, like you, I've been both. I've done both, and my experience with vegetarianism, when it comes down to an energetic thing, because everything is energy, but eating foods that are more live, um, fruits and vegetables, what it does to the body, it gives it a sense of energy yet calmness. You're less agitated when you're eating live foods. So I don't really agree with the article, but I understand the perspective of dopamine and things that are being released when you're satisfied when you're eating
Mhm.
a
Yeah,
burger
exactly.
or chicken or any type of meat product. The
Yeah,
feeling you get, okay, it'll give you a euphoric feeling, but that feeling, from my experience, it's not a lasting type of situation. The meat it has its pros and its cons, because the meat will, um, you know, help with certain aspects of muscle and things like that, and this, that, and the third. So it all depends on your lifestyle. I personally feel like if you're a person who utilizes a lot of, let's just say, spiritual energy, I would lean more towards the vegetarian lifestyle, simply because you're going to be eating live foods that's going to facilitate your chi and your chakra energy and everything about your energetic body flowing much freely. It's not going to
right.
be bogged down with processing heavy animal matter. So
Right.
now, if you're an athlete, um, somebody who's really in the grit and grime, and you need that not just the energy from the meat, which is very minimal, but there's also certain chemicals and things that are well, let's not say chemicals, but there's certain things that are released into that meat upon the processing of that animal, that will carry over into the human being. So you got people who eat a lot of meat. They're more aggressive. They have more of aggressive nature when they
That's true.
partake in a lot of animal flesh.
That
Um,
is true.
that would be a perk for a person who's a boxer, fighter, a competitive athlete, gladiator type individual. Um, so it has its pros and its cons. So the article, to me, gave a statement, but it gave a blanket statement. I don't agree with the blanket statement across the board. I think that antidepressive good feeling that you might get from that meat is a sense of satisfaction because it tastes good and it's sense gratifying. And in
Right.
that case, yes, it does that versus the person who's a vegetarian. Because I'm going to tell you, when you are a vegetarian, everything that you eat tastes good, but it's a point where you're rationalizing the good because it's like you, especially if you used to eat meat and you stop, now you're a vegetarian. And let's just say you've been in the vegetarian race for a while. Any and every meal that you get is going to be a great meal simply because your ass ain't eating meat no more.
Right.
And any type of mock meat or let's just say fake meat or any type of meat they've made out of vegetable to you, it's going to be the best thing ever. But really, it's not. You telling your mind that shit. It's still a fucking vegetable. It's
Yo, you
still a
know what though?
vegetable.
But I used to have some like I used to buy these. I forgot the name of the brand, but I used to buy these vegetarian patties. The only problem with vegetarian patties and stuff like that, they're loaded with sodium. They got so much sodium,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous to give them taste. Because I used to make some good vegetarian burgers, man. If you put the right sauces and all that stuff on it, you know what I mean? All all the right, because it can mask the meat. You know what I mean? Like if you put enough sauce, because that's what you taste anyway when you eat burgers and stuff. You taste all the sauce and all that stuff. So if you can get that sauce in there, damn.
What happened? Looked like I lost him.
I don't know what happened. My phone just switched over to his own, and I don't know what the hell. But I used to eat these burgers with wheatgrass, everything, man. They used to be real healthy burgers, but they were good. They were good. Some of them had nuts in them and stuff like that, all kinds of. They were good, but I used to use. It was like more the sauces and stuff what you put on them to mask everything to make you think that you're eating meat. So it really works if you know how to put the sauces together. You know what I mean? But you don't
It
want the bread.
works.
That's the issue too. The bread to me is worse than the meat. Bread
Well,
is the worst thing.
yeah, we're gonna cover the bread later on in the show,
I
but
stopped eating that. I stopped eating bread completely. Even though I eat meat at this point, I don't eat no bread. You know what I mean? So I don't
yeah,
eat no kind of like starches and stuff like that. I try
yeah,
not
yeah,
to. But my diet is very little of it. Very, very small.
yeah. But nah, that goes back to what I was saying about the whole meat thing. That when you are a vegetarian, especially if you are a newbie, you have this. You still want to feed your sense gratification of the taste of the meat. So anything that can give your brain that sense of that meat flavor, then
Right.
it's the best shit
Never like
ever when you're a vegetarian. But
yeah.
in reality, let's just look at it for what it is. It's not meat. It's satisfying because that's all you got when you are transitioning from eating meat to something a little bit more healthier. But the reality is, it's all about reprogramming your system when it comes to meat and vegetarianism. All of
But
it is programming.
here's another question though: is it really healthier because of the process? You know what I
Which
mean?
one?
Like, is it really healthier? Like, I'm
What?
talking about the whole vegetarian burger versus a real burger. Is the
Oh,
vegetarian burger the process how they make it and put it together? Because, like I said, they load it with sodium, and most of them loaded with soy. So it's like
well,
you
what you
like
want to
got to try
do
to
is,
get around the soy prospect. It just you know what I mean. Like, it's hard to find one that don't have soy in it. That's been an issue too with that.
well, let's dive deeper into that when we get over into the other part of the show when we get to the ingredients part. Another headline that I wanted to cover right quick was inflation, and a lot of people don't realize that we're like in hyperinflation right now, as far as our currency and our money is concerned, and our economy. And this is why we're seeing extreme price increases
Just
for
don't make
our
no sense.
items that we're buying right now, and it's going to get a lot worse. But people are so distracted in what they're doing from a day to day. Some people are noticing it, and some are not. But it's going to come a time very soon where you're just probably going to get to the store, and a loaf of bread might cost you $10. It's just what it is. We're in hyperinflation right now. I would encourage everybody to go out. If you don't know what hyperinflation is, go out, ask Google, do whatever you need to do, but learn about hyperinflation, because the money that we have now is not going to go very far based on the devaluation of our currency. And we're in
Yeah,
hyperinflation right now. That's why people are like, you got black people complaining about, a pack of chicken wings costing about $27. They wilding
yeah.
out about the chicken and all this stuff. But yeah, hyperinflation is a really big deal right now, and y'all need to look into that. Another thing I want to talk about right quick is Facebook switching over to the metaverse and changing their name from Facebook to Meta. And they have this new technology called if I don't know if you too familiar with if y'all too familiar with the virtual reality goggles. I think they're called Oculus. I think that's one brand. It's called Oculus. But anyway, they're creating this new type of technology where you can actually put on this headset and go inside a created universe,
That's
interactive
dope.
creative
All
universe.
kind of dope.
There's a good movie that people need to go out and watch. It's old. They got Bruce Willis, he's starring in it, and it's called Surrogates, where there's the world has created a society where people live in alternate realities where they're in their homes, they have the headsets on, and they are virtually living virtual realities inside the headset, but they're laying in their beds, and while they're laying in their bed, they don't work, they don't go anywhere. There's all types of IVs, they're fed through tubes, everything is hooked up to maintain the body, but the mind is in a virtual reality somewhere, and they just live in any type of reality that they really want to live. But nobody is doing anything human anymore. Some people are, very few people are, but most people are in their homes, laying in a bed, hooked up to a device, and living out their fantasies and doing whatever. And their bodies are starting to atrophy. People are, well, long story short, they've done it so long that they're now having problems with their body. People got to learn to walk again because they've been laying in the bed so long with these headsets hooked to their
I got a
face.
question
But
for you.
yeah, go ahead.
They actually Prime got two movies that's relative to what you're saying. They got two. They got two. Did you see Aftermath yet?
No.
Aftermath. You need to check that out on Prime. Aftermath is
What?
good. Just what you talking about. Aftermath got something kind of relative to that. And there's another one. I forgot the name of it, but they both relative to what you talking about. They got two new movies on Prime that's talking about that stuff right now.
Yeah.
So you can look on Prime.
Another movie is Player Ready Set or Player Ready Go or something like that. Y'all probably know what it is out there, but yeah, they're trying to create virtual. It's called metaverse, but they're now once you hook up to the system, you're able to go in and you're able to buy things. You're able to go into a mall. You're able to meet other people while you're in there. So it's this is where we headed with it. They got a good episode on Black Mirror. I don't know if y'all watch Black Mirror, but Black Mirror got everything in those episodes about what's what right now. But there's an episode of Black Mirror where there's two brothers, two black dudes who played this video game together,
I
and it
hate
was
that one,
virtual.
man. That made me feel that's some weird. That's some weird. I couldn't watch it no more after watching that one series, whatever that. I couldn't watch it no more. That screwed me up, dog. That screwed me a little bit up. Like for them two to even have the conversations and for him to even feel that, it just messed
Yeah,
me all up.
yeah, yeah.
It killed me, yo. I was like, yeah, I can't watch
Yeah, go check out
it.
Black Mirror. They got an episode of the brothers who and I'm not to give it away, but one guy in the video game was a female and one was a male, and they were characters in a video game. So I don't want to give it away, but it spilled
Gotcha.
over into their regular lives as two men. So go figure, but it's dope. Black Mirror got the most informative information in those episodes that's relative to now. It's insane. So people can
Yeah.
never really say, you know what I'm saying, I didn't know. But that's how the powers to be get down. They put everything in a movie, and you watch it and process it as entertainment, but it's really not entertainment. But anyway, one last thing in the news. Your boy Ice Cube decided that he didn't want to take free lunch, and he walked away from a movie that was paying him $9 million, and he's standing firm on his square in his position when it comes to his freedom of choice. And I'm pretty sure he's going to get some blowback from that. But
Who
here's my
cares?
thing, I commend the brother for
Me too.
standing his ground, and I'll just say this, you know, if it was me and I'm an entertainer and I got 50, 60, $100 million in the bank, I'm good. My family's good. We straight. So I could walk away. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not the type of individual that needs to be seen, because a lot of entertainers, they want the cameras, they want the flashing lights, they want to be in front of people, they want to feel special, and that's a psychological thing. But what I saying is in the hood is I want to make it out the hood. I don't want to be poor no more. I want to be successful. So once you reach that, anything past that is feeding your ego. So Cube's standing on the square with that, which I can commend him, and he's basically saying, look, I don't want no free lunch. I'm not taking free lunch. It is what it is. Y'all can keep your 9 milli. I probably got 200, 300 million in the bank somewhere. So he could walk away. And I support that, brother. Kyrie Irving too.
Yeah, but
Same
yeah,
thing.
most likely he probably took a lot of that out because you don't know what's going on now because they want to strip everything from people anyway. So
Yeah. So it is what it is.
like,
But that wraps up our current events. And we're going to get into uh, our labels, our food labels, and what's hidden in them, and healthy eating, and this, that, and the third. And we're going to get into that. And on that note, let's do it. And we're back. So where do we begin with this food
we
thing?
begin.
Where do we
What
begin?
is real food and what is not real food? Like what is considered food these days anyway? What if you know what? My whole thing on it, we've probably been eating processed food since we was born. And time before that, you know what I mean? Like I mean, even some of the foods I believe that they said were real food could have been modified food. You know what I mean? We I don't even know if we were ever exposed to real food. I mean, that's just one of my opinions. I'm not saying anything that, I don't have no proof on that, but I'm just saying like everything we eaten was probably something else before it became that.
Real food. I mean, me personally, just looking at the word in itself, real food is anything that you're going on you consume that feeds your body,
Anything you can process, I guess.
whether it be processed or not. It's
So I'm
real
saying
food. It's
anything a
something.
body can process.
If the body can take it and process it and it sustain you, that's real food in the essence of the word. Now, is it healthy? Does it have detriment? That's a different conversation when we're talking about real food, because food, in its essence, um, has many different levels, and we don't want to get too deep on what types of food that you can consume that will sustain your body. But just dealing with the ingredients labels. I think in our community, one of the biggest issues that we have that feeds some of the degenerative type of diseases that we have, which would be high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. And a lot of the things that we partake in, as far as our food is concerned, are facilitated by a lot of the ingredients that are on the packages, but we don't even know how to read the packages to understand what we are actually intaking, especially when it comes down to when we hear things like natural. They get people all the time with the term natural or
Yeah,
100%
that had us
juice.
back in the '80s, dog. I mean, back in the '80s when you saw natural, dog, that natural meant it was all natural because that's what they put on there,
Yeah,
all natural. But then when you read the back, it'd be like 10% fruit juice. then everything is all different type of sugars and stuff. But I guess it's legal to
yes.
something small in it, something organic or something real, but the rest could be sugar and everything else. But it's legal to use all natural. Like they're just stating that they
Well,
put something all natural in it.
well, the thing about natural flavors, and this is something that I had to learn too, that natural flavors is actually a code word for corporations to slide in things that are actually artificial. So when you see natural flavors, it's a code word that encompasses so many different artificial ingredients that are labeled natural that are actually
Right.
artificial. So when you see that, people, they kind of get caught up in the jargon of, surface definition of what they think natural is. And that's simply not the case. I think one of the biggest things that is destroying health, hands down, would be sugar. Sugar is a legalized drug, whether people know that or not. And sugar is, I say sugar is the devil. You got natural sugars, and then you got manufactured sugars, and you got processed sugars. The bottom line is sugar occurs in nature naturally. It's just that our body does not require a lot of it in the magnitude of which we are consuming it. So when you go into a store, corner store, you buy a juice, which I don't even buy corner store
Like
juices and
a
none of that
week
shit
worth
no
of
more.
sugar in that thing. A week worth of sugar in juice, man. A week worth of sugar in one drink, damn near.
Now here's the thing: when you turn the bottle around and you're looking at the bottle, it might say 32 grams of sugar per serving. 32 grams is a lot of sugar. Now keep in mind, 1 gram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams. To help people understand how do you break that down, 1 gram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams. So if you take medicine, it's like, damn, this is 50 milligrams. 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. So you got a juice that got 32 grams, right? So the thing is, it's 32 grams of sugar per serving. How many servings in the bottle? It's 4 servings in the bottle, which
Crazy.
means you only supposed to drink 1 serving of that, and that's still too much sugar. But I'm just saying, 1 serving is enough to last you about 2 days worth of uh, glucose. Far as because each time we ingest anything that has sugar in it, our body has to release insulin to remove it from our bloodstream because carbohydrates and sugars are supposed to give us fuel for energy.
Right.
And if we're not burning it up, it gets processed and stored as fat. That's just what happens. So when we go to the store and we're buying these drinks and it has 4 servings of sugar, 4 servings per bottle, and it's like 32 grams of sugar per serving, and you done drunk the whole bottle. Growing up, nobody's counting servings. We know to drink the whole bottle. We know to do that.
Right.
But we never factor in how much sugar we just drunk and how much we got to process and how much insulin spike that we're going to have to get this sugar to be processed and get out of our bloodstream. So the thing is, now we should be learning how to read these labels, the servings, the sugar, what type of sugar, so we are not facilitating us creating these degenerative type diseases that we're having. The reason why we got an epidemic of diabetes is because of those corner store drinks, honey buns, any bread, because
Man,
bread,
honey
once you
buns,
consume it,
yo. Oh, honey buns,
super,
man.
super sweet, nothing but sugar.
But them babies are
And
good. I don't touch them, but they good.
it's a legalized drug. So it's supposed to feed that aspect of your being that conditions your brain for that stimulation. And that's all it is. It's a drug. And most of the foods that we consume are legalized. They have legalized drugs in them, which is the sugar. And the thing is, and I learned this later in life, that our bodies are bombarded with sugar so much. on a daily basis, that our insulin receptors get burnt out and they just stop firing off to remove sugar from the bloodstream, which that's what they term insulin resistance. That's diabetes. Um,
Right.
and the thing is, you know, a lot of people think that this things that are passed down from my parents, you know, my parents might have this, so it'll just get passed down to me because it's in the genetics and all that type of stuff. But keep in mind the lifestyle that our parents lived, that we grew up under. 9 times out of 10, we're gonna go and live our lives the same exact way. We're gonna eat the same way. We're gonna drink the same way. We're gonna cook the same way. Therefore,
Right.
it's only right for us to develop the same degenerative type diseases that our parents had. It's the same
True.
format, same MO. People don't realize that there are 30 different names for sugar on a
Oh yeah.
package.
And
30
they make
different
it
code
sound
names.
so professional that you don't even, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man. Like it's
30
just crazy.
different. And if you don't know what those code names are,
Can you hear me? Can't hear you.
could you hear me?
Now I can. All right, you good.
All right. But yeah, let's run through some of the names of the sugars that we have that people don't know. Now, of course, we got sugar, like just regular sugar, cane sugar. Um, we got
That's
corn sweetener, uh, ethyl,
fructose and that.
maltol. Got corn syrup, dextrose, fructose, fruit juice concentrate. That's most of the juices cats be drinking in the store. Fruit
Yep.
juice concentrate. Corn syrup is probably some of the worst shit that you can drink in a drink. Um, and you're talking about something that contributes to a lot of diabetes. Corn syrup will definitely be it. So you gotta stay clear of things that have corn syrup in it and stuff like that. It's an artificial sweetener. It's very cheap, and these corporations they buy this stuff and they use it because it's very cheap to manufacture, and it tastes just like sugar. So corn syrup is definitely something you probably want to kind of put on your radar to watch out for. Fructose, glucose, high fructose corn syrup, because you got two types of corn syrup. You got high fructose corn syrup and you
Yeah.
got regular corn syrup. You got invert sugar, you got lactose, maltose, malt syrup, raw sugar. You got sucrose, sugar syrup. You got Florida crystals, cane sugar, crystalline fructose, evaporated cane juice, corn syrup solids, malt syrup, barley malt, agave nectar, rice syrup, caramel, panocha, uh, muscovada, molasses, um, and carob syrup. And these are all different names of different sugars that will be labeled on a package. And the thing is, I was told by some of my elders who were into natural healing and natural foods and stuff like that, is when you look at your labels, you want something that has minimal ingredients in it, from give or take a minimum of
Four, right?
maybe 4, 5 or 6 cool. Not to say cool in the sense of the ingredients are good, but that just lets you know it's not filled with crap. But same
Right.
time is the ones that you have in there, you want to make sure that they on the up and up, so you don't, be ingesting something that's going to cause you problems later down the road. A lot of these things taste good, but like I said, you get later on in age, and you know your blood sugar is acting a little wacky because your receptors are burnt out. And keep in mind, they tell us to eat 3 meals a day.
True. That's
Realistically, when we consume, let's say, traditional give or take, when I was wilding out there, just young, not knowing, you might get up, you might drink orange juice. Sugar got it's high in sugar, so your body
Orange
got
juice. Parents.
yeah, you gotta process that. Your body has to process that just that cup, right? Now you gotta release insulin. You're gonna have an insulin spike from that orange juice. Gotta process that, get it out your bloodstream. Keep in mind, you probably ain't even working out. You probably ain't doing no type of exercise. So once the insulin has removed the sugar from your bloodstream, you're sitting around, so it's gonna store the rest as fat. So you're gonna gain weight. Now, later on, let's say you might have a bowl of cereal. Hypothetically, you have some cereal. That shit loaded with sugar. Now you get hit with sugar again. Body got to work to get rid of that fucking sugar out your system. You ain't working out. That's a whole nother process. Get home, might have a sandwich, bread. Bread breaks down as sugar too. It's carbohydrates. So once you
Worst sugar ever.
then you're gonna have probably another cup of juice along with that. That's more sugar. Then you're probably gonna have some rice with your dinner or some pasta. That's more sugar. Then after that, you might have a snack, honey bun, cookies, whatever. That's more sugar. So we're bombarded with sugar, 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 sugar all day long. And I'm talking about people who don't know nothing about health, nothing about reading labels or anything. They just, hey, I'm going along with the flow. This is
Mm-hmm.
destroying your body.
And the first thing they say is, "Oh, you're gonna die anyway." That's the first thing your average person is gonna say is, "You're gonna die anyway." And that's, to me, honestly, in my opinion, that's the most ignorant thing you can say.
That's a convenient statement, but when you're in the process of dying, you rethinking all that shit. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna say it again. That's a very convenient statement for people who feel good, they ain't sick, they great. But when you in the process of dying, you rethinking all that shit. Because sometimes death ain't quick and swift. So when you got cancer, might be a long out, drawn out process. When you got heart disease, might be a long, drawn out process. When you got diabetes, it's definitely going to be a long out, drawn out process because you're just going to deteriorate from the inside. Now you rethinking all that shit because now you're suffering. Go ahead.
But there's only one way to combat that, and people think they need medicines and all types of drugs to combat that. You just change your diet. You know what I mean? You gotta be disciplined to change your diet, and the odds of you getting through it, it'll be very high. Your chances of survival and everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
change
it's like
is definitely important. That's rule number one. Changing the diet.
Cold turkey
Yeah.
too.
And it's gonna be like when people stop doing something dietary, it's almost similar to people stopping drugs because you're gonna go through all those similar changes. People don't realize that a lot of these chemicals that are in the foods are actually drugs. So once you stop and detox from all this stuff, you're gonna go through a process of equivalent to detoxing from drugs. You're gonna get
Feeling weak, all kinds of stuff. You gotta experience all
weak,
this stuff.
nausea, headache, fatigue, aches, shakes, fever, flu-like symptoms, the whole shit. Like you detoxing from heroin or something. It's just that bad when you really are detoxing and it's digging deep into your tissue and pulling out all that stuff that's stored in your tissue. Because there's a lot of toxins that are stored in fat. That's why when a lot of people detox and they start shrinking and getting down, a lot of things starts to surface because now they're pulling toxins from all aspects of the body that's stored inside of the tissue. But anyway, go
But the
ahead.
majority who don't even, some people never had a detox in their life, dog.
I was
Some people never
uh,
even fast 20. Some people never fast 10 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
I was just telling somebody that, man. Just the person who for 30, 40, 50 years never cleansed. They never detoxed. They never purged the system. Now the system will purge itself by default when you get sick. When you
Right.
catch a bug or something, you're purged. Then that's why you don't have an appetite, because it shuts that eating shit off, and it allows the body to cleanse itself. That's probably the only purging that goes on by default when somebody gets sick, is the fact that the body already knows to shut off the eating process, and
And you
and
lose
and
taste and all that stuff. I kind of believe that too.
yeah. So, and that's a natural thing. But when you consciously take it upon yourself to purge the system, it's a little bit different, because now it's one thing to be sick and your body say, "I'm not hungry. I don't want no food." Right? That's one thing. That's a whole other thing for your ass to be fine and say, "I can't eat. I shouldn't eat. I got to stay away from that." That's a whole different battle in itself, when you got to tell yourself that I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. That's a fight, because now you got to fight the mind, you got to fight the body, you got to fight to maintain you staying on that course and
And I
all of
do
that.
that every
Go ahead.
I do that every morning. Got a whole refrigerator full of Haagen Dazs and Dove ice cream. The chocolate bars, dog. Every time I open up the refrigerator before I go to work, yo, it ain't nothing like eating one of them joints going to work, bro, in the morning, because they wake you up and all that stuff. Bro, that's a challenge for me, man. But I do it every morning now, man. I open it up, all these Haagen Dazs. Oh man, like
So
it's just hard, man.
now keep
Huh?
in mind, I'm not telling people to I think life is what you make it. So keep in mind, it's about balance. So if you choose to be a healthier
Exactly.
person, I think you should choose to have your purge moments, your fasting moments, your cleansing moments, and then you have moments where you should make better choices when you're eating. And I also feel like you should have those moments where you don't eat anything. You just abstain and let the body do what it needs to do. But have your cheat day. Have a day where you say, you know what, I'm not gonna count calories. I'm not gonna watch this or that. Have that day where you can be human and have the human experience, because that's what having a body is for. To come here and experience this shit. One thing I'm telling you is, don't be a slave to your senses. You
Right.
be in control to say, hey, no, I'm not eating this. I'm not eating that. I'm going to eat like this for the rest of the week. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do this. And on that one day, I'm going to give in to my senses, my Haagen Dazs.
I'm gonna tell you what I do though. I'll wake up in the morning. Let's say I gotta go to work. Most of the time when I gotta go to work early, like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, I won't eat until probably 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's like I kind of take advantage of that when I go to work. Like, I ain't even gonna eat until the day. So it's like you got to give your body time to process, because it's true though. Like you can actually have a nice Haagen Dazs when you get off work if you give your body time to process and break down things.
That's
It's
what they call intermittent fasting.
Yeah. So because they say that doesn't rise your glucose.
Yeah, you won't have
If
an
you
insulin spike when you do that.
because you only doing it like one after a certain amount of hours. So it's
Yeah,
like the body's gonna use that for a different type of fuel, or it's gonna fuel it. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna store it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So like when you intermittent fast, like you said, like everything kinds of work its way out, because you allow yourself to clean up your room, get everything organized, and then get it dirty again, and then get it you allow that time to clean up your room again and get it fixed up. You know what I mean? So nothing don't build up. And that's where I
that's
think people have a problem.
that's the
It's the
problem
build
right
up.
there. The build up. That's like take cancer for instance. The body's consistently fighting and regulating cancer cells and stuff like that. The thing is keeping it under control. Your
Yeah.
free radical damage and stuff like that. But when you allow them to get out of control, that's when you run into problems. So we're not gonna talk about cancer on here. Um, I will say this. Um, I think we need to educate ourselves on a lot of things that may be causing it, that contribute to it, and start to regulate those things in our lives, because there's things in unknown places that you're not aware of that is perpetuating the whole cancer thing. Yes, it could be genetic also. So I just think if you give your body a lot of what it needs to combat free radicals and stuff like that, which are antioxidants and stuff like that, fruits and vegetables, that's very important. It's your body's consistently fighting inside. It's at war with checks and balances and making sure shit don't get out of control. So
24/7 if you got a poor diet.
yeah, yeah. So if you're giving it what it needs predominantly often, then it has the right resources to do what it needs to do to kick ass and keep shit in check and shit don't get out of whack. But that's a whole nother conversation when we start talking about the C word and all that. Keep in mind, we are not doctors. We're not telling you not to take your medication. We're not telling you not to go see the man. We are not physicians. All right?
But we are. But we are just giving some strong advice from experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, if, you know, organizing your life can change everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Preparation changes everything. You know, you know you have your downtime, and then you get back on top. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that if you do these things right, you really won't have any health issues, because your body is designed to cleanse itself, to do all kinds of things on its own, but you have to make time for that. Just like when you go to work, you burnt out, you want to go home, you know, you want to go to sleep, you want to recover. So if you never sleep, what happens? If you never get sleep, you'll end up passing out somewhere or falling out. Now you really fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's just the same thing. Like, you just got to organize the books. You know what I mean? Like, if you got all this paperwork and you just not even, you know, you just build up all this paperwork. Now trying to get all that paperwork lined up and everything will be hell for you, because you didn't organize it part by part. You just allow everything to just pile and pile and pile and pile and pile and pile to the point where you can never get it cleaned up. You'll never be able to clean it up until you just actually shut down and just get it cleaned up. It'll take you, like, again, like going on a diet. You basically got to go on a diet to clean up maybe 500 fouls and everything and all that. So you got to stop doing everything in your life and clean up all the fouls and stuff and all this stuff to get everything situated, and you can get your flow moving again.
And most people have a health crisis to get that going. They'll get sick. And upon them getting sick, that's the body's way of saying, I'm shutting this shit down to go ahead and repair some of this. So I need to put you down where you laying down somewhere so I can go ahead and do what I need to do, because you haven't made the conscious decision to go in and, you know, make sure you take the time to fix it, you know, what you need to fix. So I'm going to shut the whole system down.
Some of us, sometimes, you know, work is everything in this world. So we'll open our eyes just a little bit, like, I got to go to work. So when your body's trying to help you, you still overriding. You're constantly overriding.
And I think society is they designed it that way to keep us going, and we never really take the time to focus on us, you know, to focus on us. So, you know,
I'm telling you, man, we need new rules, man. We need extra days on the weekends. We need, holidays. I'm talking about vacations should be a month. For every employee should be able to take a month off. Everything should be, like, you're supposed to get these real times. These companies could do it. You know what I mean? You can give people freedom. It don't have to be like that. You know what I mean? That's what make me, it just pisses me off that the way this whole thing is ran is just really built to destroy you and take everything from you and leave you with nothing at the end of the day. This makes no sense. Who creates something like that? What kind of person creates something like that? It's
a system that is designed to we're batteries. You've seen the Matrix. They use up the cell, which is the battery, and then once it's used all up, then you get rid of it, which we classify as death. So people, they'll work you till the end. But you know, that's changing, and that's one of the reasons why we got this bill going to help people understand that your health is your wealth, and if your health get jacked up, forget about it. There's nothing else. Yeah, nothing else is cracking. Another thing we want to talk about is healthy fats, which is another thing that I actually think is right below the sugar would be the fats. Um, Healthy fats. A lot of people don't understand what healthy fats are, and I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the day, they demonized fats to make fats seem like they were bad. That's why they
I knew that
structured this
too.
this this food pyramid thing where they had all these grains and breads and all this other stuff on the food pyramid and told us to eat like this. But they also conditioned us throughout time over the past couple of decades to have this bad relationship with fat. Stay away from fatty foods and eat low fat this and low fat that and blah blah blah.
First
And
thing
here's
you could do.
the best thing for your body is healthy fats. Healthy fats feed your body and keep your body going without all the detriment of the refined grains and the sugars and all of that. This is why the health system of ketosis and people on keto and all that. This is why it works so well. This is why Atkins diet was so successful. Is because they understood that they went back and looked at the science that fat wasn't the problem. It was carbohydrates and sugar. That was the problem. It was the grains and the breads. That was the problem. The fat wasn't the problem. The thing is, people don't understand what's good fats from bad fats. Good fats is your coconut oils. Another good fat would be your avocado oils. Another
That's
good
the
fat
best
would be
right there.
your olive oils. So when you're feeding your body healthy fats, your body will work in an optimal situation. Bad fats, on the other hand, causes inflammation, causes the C word, cancer. So what are the bad fats? When you go to the corner store and you get your honey bun, you get your
Hmm.
honey bun, or your nutty bars and Twinkies and all that shit, they got bad fats
Oh,
in them.
that's beautiful, man. That's some beautiful food, though, man.
That's the
It
worst shit because you on one hand you got the sugars and on the other hand you got hydrogenated oils. You got oils that have been formulated into damn near chemicals that they use because they're cheap and they put them
ain't
in
that
these
insane?
products. It's business. It's business, but it's a shame at the fact that they got us addicted to this stuff, and we think that it's real food, but that's not real food. That's why they call it junk food. That would be classified as junk food because you look at the nutritional benefit, how it feeds the body from those products. Those products cause more inflammation in the body than it does far as how much antioxidant activity are you getting from it, how much omega-3 activity are you getting from it. Because essential fatty acids, the key word, when you see something that says essential, that means your body needs it. Essential fatty acids means your body can't function properly without it. That's why you see the word essential. So fatty acids that are essential that you get from like your flax seeds and stuff like that, and your omega threes, you need those things because your body can't produce it. So you have to consume them. So bad fats, here's where your heart disease and all your other stuff comes into play. Because people are not reading the packages to see what kind of fats and that are in their packaging. These soy oils and all this other stuff, bad, very bad. But yet we consume it not knowing the detriment of what it's going to do to the body. So healthy fats, I would say, educate yourself on healthy fats. Um, and they say anything that's in a package gonna put you in a box. So you really gotta just kind of like get your life out of a box. Because if it's in a box or a package, it's been processed to be there. You know, you gotta
It's
start
so
eating
hard
more.
though to find anything that you know what I mean. But it's so hard to find the right stuff, man, because it's like the market is starting to like everything is being like that though. You know, even health foods, everything is like you can't even escape it. In that, you know, and this is like the you know, like you said, the sad thing about this money thing, man. Like money is so important now, man. Like people
Yeah,
destroying people for like extra money, man. Like, yo, come on, man. Let's just be fair. Let's just have a healthy nation here, man. Like,
that's not the world we live in. That's not the
yeah,
world
I
we live
know, man. It's like you got to feed the pharmaceutical industry. You know what I mean?
in.
You got to make sure people sick enough to go to their asses so they can just
You
feed you shit that don't do nothing but mask the issues, don't do no cures, but create more issues so they can make more money You know what I mean? So it's like
It's all about money. At some point, you have
it's
to take
sad though,
control.
man.
But let me ask you this
Sad.
question. Let me ask you this question. Are you in a position to take control of your health?
I've been doing it without the doctors for years.
But I'm saying so that is
Yes.
okay. That's a yes. So at some point in your evolution, you got to a point where you took control over your own health and nutrition, right? Through
Yep.
education, through figuring things out and understanding. Now, what I'm saying to the average person is, I'm not telling the person, because keep in mind, we grew up in the hood. You know, it's a blessing that we've made it this far because we can remember when the bag of chips was a quarter, right?
Bag of chips, soda,
You you
bag
can
of
get
chips.
a regular size bag of chips for 25 cents. What they
And
did
what,
was
50 cents for a soda?
they shrunk the bags down now and want to charge you more money. So we ate more junk because it was cheap, and they didn't cut back on the size. So when we were younger, we had access to the cheapest shit. Like you could not pay me to drink a quarter water right now. Horrible, horrible. When I stopped eating that type of stuff and I came across it and I had the opportunity to taste it again and realize this tastes like something, it's poisonous in it. I do not allow my kids to drink stuff like that. But what is
I
it?
stopped
It's
drinking.
color. It's color. It's one of those artificial sweeteners, and it's water. Has no nutritional value whatsoever other than the hydration of the water that's in it. That's it. You
Right.
better off just drinking the fucking water by itself. But we grew up on this, and here we are today. We've come to a point in our evolution where we've evolved and we've gotten to a point where we can make better decisions. But I'm not telling anybody in the hood who don't have much money not to buy this, that, or the third. What I'm saying is do what you have to do, you know what I'm saying, until you get to a position of, you know what I'm saying, I can make better decisions. Because I'm going to say this, you know, we are a very strong, resilient people. We've been through the fucking ringer, and we always come out on top. So when you look at everything that was thrown at us from bad food, I remember when they used to give us I know your moms used to get the government food, yo. My mom used to have it would come in a white box and
That
it would just
pork.
say
You talking
pork.
about that pork? You talking about
Oh,
the pork, right?
I got to the
Can of
pork
pork.
yet. I didn't even get to
Can
the
of,
pork yet. But yeah, I remember
oh my bad.
it had a pig on it. That was the pork can. Then you had
Yeah.
white box and it had cornflakes on it. Then you had milk that was powdered, had milk on it.
Yep.
And that shit was wrapped in these white packages with just words on them.
Oh, the
No,
cheese. You forget about the cheese, nigga.
oh
The
yeah,
government
oh,
cheese.
yeah. The block cheese. So we've had some everything coming down the pipe, man, and we still here. And I think that we've made it this far because we just some special people, man. No matter what they throw at us, we work it out. We figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And universe always creates a new dynamic to put us in a position where we can get it
You know one thing
the
too?
best way.
Like, some of us like, oh, dang, I got to sneeze. Damn.
That pork, yo, and that can, that pork in that can, man. One day, I don't know what my mom used to make with that shit. All I know is I looked
Everything,
at
man.
it
They used to make it with rice, all kinds of stuff, mix it in rice and everything. They didn't even know what the hell was in it. They just knew it was
I
mixed
looked
with
at
like
it
parts of the pig.
exactly. When I actually examined it as a young child, I looked at the can inside the can, and it looked like chopped up pieces of
Of
animal.
everything. Yeah.
That's wild. But
Yeah.
we here, man. We here. And don't keep in mind, I enjoyed our childhood, from all the shit we used to eat, man. And keep in
Shouldn't even
mind,
be here right now, right?
yo,
Them diets.
it's wild. But
But
I think, go ahead.
I think the difference from back in the day and today, there was less chemicals though.
I was about to say that. I was about to
Go
say
ahead,
that
go ahead, go ahead.
it was less chemicals. I'll say it like this: we had a lot of processed foods. We had a lot of bad foods that wasn't the healthiest, but we didn't have a lot of foods that were manufactured and made out of frankenfood, like weird shit. We
Yeah,
just had unhealthy items versus lab made foods, like some shit they made in a lab. Like
right.
growing up, we didn't have genetically modified, a lot of
It was
genetically
more
modified.
organic. It was
Yeah.
more organic to some point. To some
So,
degree, it was more kind of organic.
so yeah, man. I mean, our childhood was it was the bomb. I ain't gonna front, but you know, those who once you learn how to once you learn more, you got to do better, and that's just how it goes. I mean, as you get more wisdom, it changes your life. You have to make a different decision. A lot of people by default don't know a lot, and when you don't know a lot, you have to just do what you know along those lines. But soon as you learn better, you got to do better, and that's the deal on that. Um, but
I
yeah,
just want to say one thing though. I, I'm I'm trying to make a trip to go to New York. You know, I don't really eat sugar and all that stuff. I mean, you know, what I mean, it's not a big thing in my diet or you know how I eat. But I was watching some you know stuff on a food channel or you know something on YouTube. Yo, man, these pastry places, man. I mean, they got I forgot what it's called, but they got a chocolate chip cookie made into a cup with milk and poured in it. You know what I mean? So when you drinking it, you can eat the chocolate chip cookie. I just gotta taste this stuff for one. You know, I never had this stuff. Then you got all these chocolate chip cookies that just milk right. I mean, they got some these restaurants, man. I just got. I'm gonna go on a tour, and I'm gonna just for my last part, my last time of enjoying some good
but
stuff.
but I tell people all the time, man. Here's the thing: there's a big difference between having a lifestyle of bad food and having a moment of experience. That's the
Right,
difference. There is
right,
nothing going and trying something and experiencing it and visiting it rarely. But you got
right,
some people who have a lifestyle of bad food. It's every day,
right,
all day,
right.
from day to day, month to month, week from year. It's just that's their
No
lifestyle.
breaks.
No
There ain't no
breaks.
breaks. And then when they take their medicines to keep the insulin down and all that stuff, they still stuffing more and
So,
more and more of that stuff. They
because
tell them they can
it
still
cripples
eat
them.
this stuff.
Yeah, they cripple people with the handicap with them with working with the symptoms of whatever the disease is, but not actually figuring out a cure on how to reverse it.
And that alone is criminal because you're telling a person to kill themselves by giving them something to make them feel better, but not fix the problem.
Well, this is
So
where
that's it's criminal.
education comes in. This is where holistic lifestyle comes in. We are returning back to this way of thinking, this way of lifestyle, because we've seen now that a lot of people catching on, man. They not like, yo, you can't. I go see you for one thing, and you give me something to live with that one thing, but you never giving me anything or any advice how I can fix that one thing. You basically
Right.
just set me up until I check out. So, but we're at a point now where this is the information age. There's nothing that people can't learn and know, and we have everything at our disposal right now. So there's real no excuse right now because everybody got a fucking smartphone, man. You got access to so much
Indeed.
information. So don't give me any excuses why you don't know something. That it's just I'm not buying that now. It's just that's dead in the water. So the bottom line is if you want to know, then you got access to it. And that's the beauty of the internet. Mm. Yeah. So yeah, man. So yeah, people need to start being more conscious of what they eat and still treating themselves. Because I'm gonna tell you, when I go to Jersey, what's the one thing I always get, and I only have it once a year. What's that
A
one
sub
thing?
from Collinswood.
No, no,
Oh
I have
wait. Oh, the candy that you talking about the
the
the ice cream
the good humor.
the macadamia ice cream bars. I mean, what were they
No,
called? No,
it's me. It's this
nah.
kid got it all wrong. Nah, it's the good humor toasted almond ice cream
Yeah,
bars.
there it is. There it is.
Childhood childhood favorite, yo. There's a video of Ghostface talking about how good those are to him. That's like one of his favorite ice creams. But yo, joints is banging, and I only have that once a year, and that's cool because when I go home, my mom she'll get a whole box, and it's not just for me.
Right.
Everybody, my kids eat them. Your ass be eating them. Everybody be eating them.
Sure did.
And you know what you said to me? You said, you know what? I only have this fucking ice cream when your ass show up. That's what you said to me. And that's a testament to, you know, I firmly believe in enjoying life and the beauties of it, but not being a slave to it. So there's nothing wrong with you taking your trip to New York City to your pastry palace or wherever it is and having your
There's a couple of
cookie.
them. We wrote down the names of them too. I'm gonna take my. We're gonna get on the subway, and we're gonna take the train out there, and we're gonna just see
Yeah,
these top-notch pastry restaurants. I mean, these spots, and they got all these little specialties. And I want to try some of those chocolate chip cookies. And
it's not, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you have a when you have balance in your life where you can, you know, people who work out, exercise, purge the system, drink a lot of water. That's another thing. People don't understand all water is not good water. So that's another conversation for another show. But all water is not good water. People and I have people tell me water is water. No, it is not. We'll get into that in a whole other conversation. But nah,
yeah,
you
we
need to be
definitely could
careful
talk
about.
about that. Like, especially how it's transported. Like you know, we did. You know what? We don't even want to get into that now. We'll dig
Yeah,
into that
yeah.
next.
Yeah, and water is important. Hydration is important. That is super, 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 super critical to your health, if not the number one thing, because water is a natural dissolver and purifier. So the more water you drink, the more your body has the ability to flush out toxins and keep everything flowing. And your brain is sitting in water, and your organs and your blood, and all that shit needs fresh water. I know people who do not drink water at all.
Me too.
Very little, like a cup. Everything else is juice, sugar, soda.
And you know what? I don't drink no juices at all. I don't even know when the last time I had a juice. To be honest with you. I don't drink soda. I don't drink juice. The only thing that I drink, anything you'll find me drinking, is some type of green tea with no sugar. That basically,
Yeah,
if anything, I got taste to it. That would be the thing that I'll be drinking.
yeah. So yeah, man. So I tell everybody out there, yo, educate yourself, and you'll live longer. Um, you know, health wise, physically, you will have longevity. What your karma is, I don't know how long people are gonna live. That's based on your karmic
Yeah, genetics, everything.
your blueprint. But if you give the system what it needs, it'll do everything in its power to maintain its function to keep you in physicality as long as it can, based on your karma. But other than that, yeah, man, it was a great show, very
Sure.
informative. Um, I would advise people, whoever check the show out, to share it with other people, as well as subscribe and hit the bell notification when you do subscribe. That way, whenever we post a video, you'll be notified, so you don't miss out on any future shows. Um, but our next show is going to be on brainwashed on heavy, so we're going to get real out there with the knowledge. But other than that, it was great. I enjoyed it. We are at the 1 hour and 14-minute mark, and everything went smooth. So, is there anything you want to say in closing, brother?
Yeah, just make the right steps. Don't get caught up in the drama. That's all I gotta say. Just there's anything is possible if you put enough effort in it. Because discipline is the key to everything. I feel that discipline can change the whole life, and it's probably the hardest thing for any of us to do is to be. discipline to our goals. But if you have discipline, you got the world in your hands. That's how I see it. But
Yeah, discipline is
that's
very
about it.
important because um, one of my elders told me your emotions are very poor masters, but they will be great servants. So, in a nutshell, it's saying that when your emotions are leading you and controlling you, then they'll have you doing and partaking in whatever that's not conducive to your well being. The thing is, you got to take your emotions and make them your servants, make them serve you based on when they're needed. And when I say emotions, keep in mind, we have an emotional connection to good food. It makes us feel good, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It gives us euphoric feeling when we're partaking in our favorite foods. It makes us feel good. So we have a relationship with the food, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And
hell yeah. When you little, you start off. You know, you ever see a kid like eating something all over the damn room? They in front of the TV, then they on top of the bed. You know what I mean?
the happy dance, doing the happy dance. Yeah,
Shit,
we
when
have
you're
a
making a
relationship.
business deal, if it's the right food, you make the wrong decisions when you're making a business deal. Shit.
Yeah, so food is it's an experience. It's definitely an experience. And I think when you put your emotions in the right place and you use some intellect, I think you start making wise decisions on okay, let me structure my meal a little bit better. And for me, um, if you want to keep inflammation down, keep insulin spikes down, you want to really maintain a meal with a protein source and a non-starchy vegetable, and you won't have too many problems, if any. And you will lose naturally. You'll just lose weight. This is pretty much what people call the keto system. But if you partake in healthy forms of protein and a non-starchy vegetable, your body will just naturally burn fat as fuel instead of sugar because you won't have any sugar in the body for it to burn. It will just pull the stored sugar from your liver and it'll pull uh, stored fat and burn it as fuel. What's what they call ketosis. And when you're in ketosis, your body is just burning fat as fuel. It's the minute
And
you
if you,
put sugar in your mouth, you turn that switch
mhm,
off. So the main thing
okay.
is to maintain it. And if you maintain it, and I've challenged people too, because people used to challenge me on this. I was like, yo, I can get you to lose 10 pounds in like 2 weeks. It was like, you ain't even gotta exercise. You could just eat. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, nah, just follow what I'm gonna tell you to eat. Don't deviate from it at all. And sure enough, they learn the system. So if you're able to burn fat as fuel and not carbohydrates, because you have stored carbohydrates. Your body will use them and burn them up. You want to keep your carbohydrate intake if you're trying to stay in ketosis, at least if you're exercising, a minimum of 50 grams per day. That means you're going to have to count the carbs. If you're exercising and doing all that, you're going to burn all that shit up and keep it moving, and you're going to maintain ketosis. If you are not exercising, then I would advise you not to even eat 50 grams of carbs. Because keep in mind, we eating hundreds grams of carbs per day.
Yeah.
It's
I,
ridiculous,
I probably,
ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know what I do now, but most of my, like everything I eat, the only carbs that if I get, I'm getting it out of something like this. To be honest with you, I
Yeah,
mean, like some, but most of the stuff I eat is straight what it is. It's either like baked chicken with some barbecue sauce on it. I probably get a little carb with sauces and all that stuff, but I don't. But the starchy and like the starchy stuff and the grain like carbs, I don't get none of that, and I don't get no sugar either. Really, I mean I get probably the most if I have any sugar. I'm getting about 19 grams a day, but that's after a certain amount of hours. So I say
yeah,
about 19 grams a day of sugar, sometimes less, but that's the
yeah,
most. About 19. They might, you know how they got little hidden sugars and everything, but I'm still under that so-called amount of sugar you need every day. You know what I mean? I mean, once you go over that certain level, it raises your glucose. You said, right?
Yeah, it'll spike your insulin and it'll raise your
Yeah,
glucose
yeah,
levels.
insulin. I'm sorry.
So the
Yeah,
thing is, you don't want to cause too many insulin spikes throughout the day, especially if you're
right.
not exercising, because it's just going to store it as fat.
And
Um,
morning is the best time, to be honest with you.
well, right now I'm doing 16/8 intermittent fasting, so I won't eat anything after 8 o'clock, and I won't eat anything before 12 o'clock. My eating window will be between 12 and 8, and typically if I work out in between, well, actually I can work out before that time. So you really want to work out in a fasted state. So my meals would be in between 12 and 8 o'clock, and typically you probably will only have maybe one good meal, and then you're back in a fasted state again after 8 o'clock.
Right.
So your body is fasting most of the time. So most of the time, if you're in a fasting state, you're able to burn stored sugar, and you're able to repair a lot. So, and
And you know
that's
what
the
I
main
learned
thing.
too?
Yeah,
Here's a little secret too. Sleep on your back allows your stomach to do what it has to do when you sleep. When you sleeping awkward and all that, it messes digestion up. It messes your organs up when you sleep on your side or on your stomach or whatever. It doesn't allow your it's like it interrupts the process in the stomach. I learned that myself.
yeah,
If you sleep on your back, if you train yourself to sleep on your back every night without turning on your stomach or anything, you'll see a difference in your weight. I'm
yeah,
telling you, man, it's a big difference. I
yeah,
wake up every morning, damn near. I'm not gonna lie, like right now after eating and stuff, I know everybody lose weight when they get up in the morning, but when I lose weight, like when I get up in the morning, dog, I don't. You can see everything, like what I mean, the muscles in the stomach, all that stuff. When I just get up in the morning, and, and it stay
yeah,
like that until I start, how you feel your stomach back up, but every morning, like from sleeping on my stomach, it just I don't know, my metabolism it just
yeah,
bursts. It just speeds the stomach up because it's allowing to. It has the room to expand and do what it has to do instead of you laying on your stomach or on your side because you're pressing against stuff and all that. And I just firm believer that laying on your stomach is the proper way. I mean, on your back is the proper way of sleeping for us human beings. That's
yeah.
just my opinion, though. What you think?
So, so viewers, keep that in mind. Try it out, see what's up, and definitely look into intermittent fasting. I will definitely probably incorporate into my life intermittent fasting, because you're really not supposed to spend a whole bunch of a large aspect portion of your day consuming food. One of the good practices of some of the brothers in the Nation of Islam, cats only eat one meal a day. That's it, and they keep it moving. That's why a lot of them look very youthful. And that's another thing. If you practice a lot more fasting and intermittent fasting, it slows down the aging process. That's why you got some brothers who live this type of lifestyle. You look at them and you really can't tell how old they are. So that's definitely a secret for the aging uh, community, that fasting creates, once you get past a certain amount of day, let's say you have prolonged fasting where you don't eat anything, there's a certain level where your body goes into autophagy, and autophagy basically is a process where the body starts to repair anything damaged in it. It starts to get rid of everything that's messed up in the body and repair it. That's why Dr. Sabi was able to initially reverse a lot of the things he had going on in his life early on before he became a healer. He went on a fast for like, I think, 30 days, no food.
That's a beautiful fast, man. And you know
30
what? It
days.
takes a lot of discipline. Fasting is to me is the beginning of discipline. Like
Yeah.
it's the highest form of discipline. It's fasting, and fasting is just not eating foods that you're addicted to. It's also it's also you're fasting yourself away from everything. It's like you learn like the process of doing that. You learn how to not be distracted by a lot of things. You know what I mean? Not just food, but everything around you. It trains your mind
It strengthens your
to
will.
to be
Your will.
focused. Yeah.
It strengthens your will. And I
Right.
will say this, and a lot of people who have been on fast, that it's a feeling that when you experience a prolonged fast, it's a high that you want to experience again. It's just hard to get there until you train yourself to do it. But it's an experience. It's a feeling that you will just never forget because your body is lighter. Everything is moving at lightning speed. Your thoughts, everything is just processed so
You
much
get sharp
faster.
here too. You get real sharp.
Yeah,
It makes you sharper after a fast. Anything that hurted you before that fast will not affect you anymore after that fast. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like once you go through that process, and I'm talking about a real fast. I'm not talking about no like 24 hours or anything. I'm talking about 10 days or 13, because I went through a 10-day one. So I know how it feels to go through 10 days. And 10 days, everything that hurt me before those 10 days, I cared nothing about, had no, it just didn't bother me no more. I was focused. I was just focused on what I had to do. I didn't nothing to things no nothing distracted me anymore. I learned how to cut my distractions out no matter what they were, So it just made me a
Sharpens
better
the
person.
mind. Sharpens the
Confident as a
mind
motherfucker.
greatly. So yeah, fasting is. There's a good book called The Phoenix Protocol on fasting, on dry fasting.
Right.
People should check it out. But yeah, after you get past a certain amount of days in your fasting, your body starts to create stem cells. And stem cells go in and repair every fucking thing, everything. So
About time to do
yeah,
another one of those, man. It's about time to really like. I'm getting hyped, but I just it's a battle, man. You know what I mean? Like I haven't did one since 2006. That was the last fast I went on was that 10-day fast.
yeah.
2006 was the last time I did that. So I've been trying lately, and it's been pretty hard. But I haven't
Because
been like that,
there's a lot of
huh?
distractions going on. It's a lot of distractions
Yeah,
going
that's
on
what I'm
right now.
saying. I was like, I'm like just found myself more distracted, and I seem to can't because when you fast, you got to make sure all the days ahead of you, there's no parties, there's no this and that. You know what I mean. You don't want to run into a cookout. People
It's
invite, so
true.
you want to make sure,
It's
huh?
a true test. It's a true test because when you want to
So
fast, that's when the food show up.
it show
That's
up
it's
heavy
crazy.
too.
It's weird. It's weird. But when you want to fast, that's when the food shows up big time in
And it
big
be your
numbers.
favorite.
Yeah, always,
You,
always.
you got hopscotch down the street, and you can eat as much as you want, brother.
Yeah, but that's the true test, man. That's the true battle of the mind. And this is why when you look at those ancient books that were written, a lot of those spiritual masters and those the people of old times who were highly spiritual, they fasted a lot. They just went out to the wilderness and they stayed gone for long periods of time without no food, and they abstained, and they always came back enlightened or with some sort of message. Because I'm gonna tell you, when you shut off the external world from stimulation and you go inside, you're able to receive downloads from the
Yeah,
higher, let's say the higher realities or God or whatever you want to call it, but you can receive those messages clear as day.
and not only that, your dreams are more sharp and more important than they were when you were eating bad and being distracted and all that. Once you fast and cleanse yourself, your dreams become, how can I say, they become
Vivid.
teachers.
Because
I
you're not
learned
getting those
stuff.
downloads. Yeah, go
Yep.
ahead.
I learned stuff in my dream. Some things I couldn't even bring from the dream, once I woke up. I didn't get to that. I didn't get that good. But I was in a sometimes I just couldn't wait to go to sleep. I used to go to sleep after I fasted. This was one time where I felt like my dreams, I was had so much control in my dreams. I couldn't wait to go to sleep. I was like, oh shit, it's almost 8 o'clock. I can't wait to go to sleep. You know what I mean? It was actually fun to go to sleep. And I
That's the
was learning so
experience.
many things, man. I was like, it's like the world was like a projection. I started seeing like the truth. Like
Yeah.
I was having dreams like standing in front of a judge, and I'm just looking at the judge and seeing right through the judge. Like it's like you just like the Matrix. You understand? Like the Matrix, like when you see all the when they show all the computer stuff,
Yeah.
all the the I mean I don't know what it's called,
It's
but
code. It's
when they show
called.
the
It's called
Matrix,
source. It's called source code.
yeah, that's what you see. And I started seeing people and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like once I got to that point, I don't see it like that no more because I haven't, I haven't did it in years. But I'm just saying, it was that point where I started seeing everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So so yeah, fasting. In a nutshell, it shuts off the outside world and all the stimulation and all the distractions. All right, you have people who are religious. A lot of religious people would refrain from eating food or would fast whenever they had an issue in life because they needed information on how to deal with whatever the problem was, and they would go fast. So anytime you have an issue in life and you need answers, go on a fast, and you'll get those answers clear as day.
Yep. Cleanse your mind and things come clear, very clear. I tell you, man, I mean, it's a good thing to do. Once you get to like your fifth day, you start you do go through a phase where you hallucinate. Once you go through, I I think when I got to like the sixth day, the fifth day, I was feeling a certain kind of way. Like I was feeling a little dizzy. I was feeling certain ways because at the same time, when I was fasting, I actually trained while I was fasting. I not
Which,
only was like, I mean, I was
which,
doing exercises. I was pushing the old Honda Civic down the road and the dirt road and all that. I was, and I was
now
just doing all kinds of training and stuff. So
don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be out here
yeah,
training while you fasting
but
like this.
but
But go
but but
ahead.
but but I did all that stuff. But the thing is, I kind of recovered from it. But I was hallucinating. My eyes were very blurry on the sixth day, somewhere around that sixth, seventh day. But it started to get normal. It was like my body adjusted back to it. And I only started eating because I was bored. That's the only reason I started eating again, because I was bored. It got so boring, when you just not eating nothing and it's like it just got boring. I was like, I think I did 10 days, man. It's like the 10 days is up. It's time to start. That's what I did, but I could have went a lot longer.
Yeah,
But
after like the
yeah,
third, fourth
huh?
day, your appetite, like after around the third or fourth day, your appetite goes away. You're not really hungry at all. Like you don't have that desire to eat.
And
Um,
it
you don't,
shows you,
yeah, you on autopilot at that point. So at that point, just keep your mind busy
right?
because your
Right. You
mind,
gotta do a lot of things.
yeah, that's gonna be your biggest enemy is the mind. Your body is gonna be
Yep.
good on the food. You straight. You ain't gonna have to worry about feeling hungry. But the mind is
Right.
gonna be fucking with you big time because it's out of control. So you got to bring the mind under your control. And once you do
Right.
that, this is why when you are fasting, you want to take time out to go outside a lot, um, rest a lot. You can read. Some people do a lot of meditation, light exercise like yoga and stuff like that. Don't be pushing no Honda Civics down the street. Um,
Right.
but yeah, you want to occupy the mind as much as possible because really that's the enemy. And when you get down to let's say Egyptian the story of Set and Horus, and Set represents your ego and Horus represents spiritual aspiration. Um, you know, when they were battling and trying to kill each other, they couldn't because they were both gods. And Horus had to go seek wisdom from the other gods on how to destroy Set, which was his uncle, which represents ego. This is where your concept of the devil comes from. Set is represented of the part of yourself that is always ego driven. Keep in mind, the deities in Egyptian mythology represents different aspects of your psychology. So Horus will represent your spiritual aspirations or the warrior aspect of you or the hero aspect of you. His mom, Isis or Aset, she represents wisdom. So when he was having, and keep in mind, these are all faculties of your own personal psychology. So when he was battling his uncle in the story, they're gods. They're throwing mountains and shit at each other, and they couldn't destroy one another. So what he had to do was he had to go seek wisdom, which is his mother. He had to go to his mom and seek wisdom on how to deal with his uncle and how to kill him. She called all the other gods, which represents all the faculties of your um, psychology, and they basically told him, "You can't destroy Set because he's a part of you. He's a part of your being, your psychology. He represents your ego. You can't destroy him, but what you have to do is you have to put
Control.
Set under your control so he can serve his true purpose. That's what the moral of the story was. So when you are fasting, the ego, which represents Set or slash the devil, is going to be tempting you and testing you to break that fast. You have to be Heru or the hero or the warrior to do battle with your ego.
I
That
like
is the
that.
true battle between good and evil. And what you have to do is you have to bring your ego under your control. So you can't get rid of your ego. You can't get rid of Set. You have to bring him under your control and have him serve you. So that's what you have to do to the mind when you're going through those fasts because it's going to test you.
I
And
like that.
it's going to say, hey, one little piece of chicken. It's just a little
Hmm.
piece. It won't hurt. And you got to battle that because it goes down like that. It's just a cracker. It's just a little sip of
It
juice
ain't
or
gonna change the thing. You still gonna be all right. You still gonna maintain your
exactly.
But once you eat that, yeah. But if you do cheat, it's over. You find yourself
It's,
eating a whole thing of that shit. Now it'd be over.
yes, it's like a cascading effect, man. Once you have that one little piece, it's like, man, avalanche. It's over.
Yeah, it's
That's
over.
the true
Like
battle
maybe
between
20 minutes
good and
later,
evil.
dog, you at the store buying like a whole box of joint stuff, man. Like you're like,
Yeah,
I
so
did enough. Convince
yeah,
yourself that you did enough.
yeah. So that's the true battle between good and evil. It's supposed to take place
I
within
like that
man.
though, Dre. That was a good one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, we had an hour and 37 minutes. We were supposed to shut down maybe like an hour ago. I mean, no, like 30 minutes ago. But anyway, we got into somebody in the chat said nigga get skinny every morning. He's talking about you, pot.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was. I can't really say. There's no name by it. It's somebody on Facebook. Everybody said
Yo,
peace, and somebody said sugar is the first addiction, which is yeah, that's true in the world because kids when they breastfeed, they get all healthy fats from their moms and breast milk, and that gives the kid everything they need. That's why breastfeeding is like super important. That's where your natural immunity comes from. That's your first immunization comes from mom's immunity in her body, her antibodies. She passed all her antibodies to the baby through the breast milk. You ain't supposed to be getting a whole bunch of shots and shit like that. That's a whole nother conversation. But the bottom line is, sugar is the first addiction because once you give a kid sugar for the first time, after they've been eating, drinking breast milk and all that, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It has that chemical reaction in the brain, and sugar just does something to them. But yeah, that was one of the somebody in the chat that was talking about sugar is the first addiction, which is true. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down, man. And I enjoyed the show. I hope everybody else
indeed.
did. And please go and check it out and share it. And you know, until then, we gonna be safe. Y'all be safe, and we gonna say peace. Peace.